everything. All right, let's call this meeting to order. This is the Doraville City Council meeting being held on June 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. I'll call the roll. Councilmember Evans?
Here.
Councilmember Ray?
Here.
Councilmember Simmons?
Here.
Councilmember Armistead?
Here.
And Councilmember Kuntz and Councilmember Henshaw are absent. Joseph Garman, I'm here.
I'm here.
Hey, Councilmember. Councilmember Kuntz is here. All right, I'd like to ask everyone in the room to please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda. So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have a couple of presentations, really brief presentations, so I'll come down to the podium. All right, I think that Chief Atkinson and Chief Harris are going to be doing a presentation in just a moment. But before then, I'd like to ask Michael Schutt from Lambda Legal to come up and join me. And this is June, and every June we celebrate Pride Month. And it is my honor this month to be giving our proclamation for LGBTQ Pride to Michael Schutt and the Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund. The month of June is recognized across the United States and around the world as Pride Month, a time to honor the contributions, history, and resilience of the LGBTQ community. Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund is a national organization working to achieve full recognition of the civil rights of lesbians, gay men, bisexuals, transgender people, and everyone living with HIV through impact litigation, education, and public policy work. Lambda Legal opened its Southern Regional Office in 1997 as one of the oldest and largest national legal organizations dedicated to achieving full recognition of the civil rights of LGBTQ people and for everyone living with HIV through impact litigation, education, and public policy work. Lambda Legal has been a trailblazer, dismantling barriers through landmark cases such as the U.S. Supreme Court case, Lawrenceville v. Texas, Obergefell v. Hodges, and Obergefell v. Hodges, legalizing same-sex marriage in 2015. And on behalf of Georgia native Isaiah Wilkins, dismantling the last discriminatory barrier facing individuals living with HIV who aspired to serve in the U.S. military in 2024. In 2024, they litigated to protect LGBTQ plus students in schools, ensuring their rights to safety, free expression, and equal access. We recognize the importance and visibility and acceptance and celebration of LGBTQ people. And the city of Doraville stands united in the support of our LGBTQ neighbors, family members, and coworkers. And before I give this, I would just say, on a personal note, a lot of the work that Lambda Legal has impacted me directly. My husband and I have been together for 26 years, but we weren't able to get married until after the Obergefell ruling in 2015, which does mean a lot to me. And I think also the work of groups like Lambda Legal, as well as other organizations, individuals who have fought for visibility and just not giving up their space has been important and made a real difference in my life, because as a little boy growing up and knowing he was different, I never thought that I could also be a leader of a community like this. And, you know, I think it's really owing to people like Harvey Milk, like Michael, like all of the people who've led and been brave and stood up for what is right, that I can be here. So thank you, Michael. It's my honor on behalf of the Doraville City Council to hereby proclaim June 2025 as Pride Month and to present this proclamation to you.
Thank you. I know you have a lot of important business to do. I know you're honoring a lot of the officers that are protecting our community tonight, so I'll be brief. First, thank you, and thank you to everyone on City Council for honoring Lambda Legal's work. I actually brought a book today which celebrates our 50th anniversary 2 years ago, and what I call is the book of our receipts, the legal work we've been doing the last 50 years. And I want to give this to you all to donate to the library in Doraville to talk about the work that we've been doing over the last 52 years to protect the community. Right now, we are fighting really hard in small towns and large towns, et cetera, to continue this work. And in fact, the Obergefell decision, we're hosting a celebration next week to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of marriage equality in the United States. At the same time, we're waiting for a Supreme Court ruling, possibly even tomorrow, which could impact the health care of trans folks across this country. And so right now, we are trying to protect the lives of our community members, and we're grateful that you are standing with us. The city of Doraville is so important. I live down the street in an unincorporated part, so if you would like to incorporate us and our home, that would be great. But we are grateful for everyone in the community that is standing with us and working hard to ensure full lived equality for everyone. So thank you, everyone that is here tonight. Okay, thank you.
All right. Next up is Chief Atkinson, if you want to, and Chief Harris, I guess.
Mayor Garman, members of the City Council, guests, friends, and citizens of the City of Doraville. I'm Assistant Chief Harris. I'll be your MC for tonight's ceremony. On behalf of the Chief of Police, Charles Atkinson, welcome to the Doraville Police Department's Life Saving Award Ceremony. On April 2nd, 2025, the Doraville Police Department received a call from 4343 Tiller Mill Road, the Home Depot. The call was in reference to a male experiencing a medical emergency outside by the contractor entrance. Officer Michael Maddox, who was already at Home Depot on a business check, located the subject within minutes, who was later identified as John Pelker. It was quickly determined that Mr. Pelker was not breathing and did not have a pulse. CPR was immediately started by Officer Maddox, who was soon joined by Georgia Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Austin Bradshaw and Special Agent Zach Bryan. Home Depot associates Lucas Santos and William Mondragon quickly jumped into action and grabbed the AED, the automated external defibrillator, and handed it off to the officers. Because of the swift and courageous actions taken, Mr. Pelker was revived at least twice before medical personnel was able to arrive on scene. As a result of their extraordinary bravery, quick thinking, teamwork, Mr. Pelker was stabilized and transported to the hospital. The heroic actions serve as a powerful example of dedication, compassion, and service to others. We recognize and praise these heroes for their meritorious performance and life-saving actions. Can I please have the following members come forward? Officer Maddox, Special Agent Bradshaw, Special Agent Bryan, Mr. Santos, Mr. Mondragon, and of course, our honored Mr. Pelker. In recognition of their heroic acts, the following are awarded by the Chief of Police. Officer Michael Maddox is awarded the Doraville Police Department's Life-Saving Medal and the City of Doraville Certificate of Commendation. GBI Special Agent Austin Bradshaw and Special Agent Zach Bryan are awarded the City of Doraville Certificate of Commendation. Home Depot associates Lucas Santos and William Mondragon are awarded the City of Doraville Certificate of Commendation. And least but not last, Mr. Pelker is awarded the Doraville Police Department's Life-Saving Recognition. Normally, at this part of the ceremony, I would say when we're concluded, we step outside and take pictures, but it's a driving rainstorm right now. At this time, I'll be followed by remarks by the Doraville Chief of Police, Charles Atkinson.
I'll be quick. Mayor, Council, I just want to recognize this heroic act that was taking place. I was telling people it don't always end like this. And in my 32 years, I've never experienced a reunion like this. I've only seen this on TV, so to be able to experience this means a lot. To be able to see Officer Maddox, the agents, the store associates reunite with Mr. Pelker and his family. That's what it's about because he's able to join us. I want to recognize some people that are here in the crowd with us. Officer Maddox is joined by his wife, Stephanie. All right. Thank you for coming. And also we have leadership from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation here that I would like to recognize. We have Special Agent in Charge, Rocky Bigham, Assistant Special Agent Lisa Verossi, Assistant Special Agent in Charge Chris McCowan, and Inspector Ryan Carmichael. Thank you all for joining us. As well as we have some employees from Home Depot. Store Manager Frank Scarpaci. And District Security Manager Elias Zavala. Thank you all for joining us. As well as Mr. Pelker's family, his girlfriend Karen is here with us, his daughter Kate, his son Mark, and their grandchildren, Stella and Charlie, are here with us tonight. Like I say, I don't want to take up too much time, but this is what it's about, being able to recognize these folks for this life-saving award. And now we'll hear a couple remarks from Mr. Pelker.
Well, thank you very much, Chief. I was not expecting this little plaque from the city of Doraville, which indicates that I'm not a survivor, but a hero. These are the heroes. I was just laying there when these guys took over. I was in Home Depot shopping and started to go down, and one of the guys from Home Depot, Lucas, saw me go down, immediately jumped into action. Officer Maddox was first on the scene, and apparently, as the proclamation said, I was dead. And after a lot of effort by everyone, including Officer Maddox, the two fine gentlemen from GBI, the guys from Home Depot, who, by the way, every store has employees that are trained specifically to use the AED equipment to save people's lives like they did mine. So this is an enormously rewarding opportunity for me to be here standing in front of this group of wonderful men. On April 2nd, I was dead. And 2 months later, I'm standing here in front of you. I'm walking a mile a day, and I'm getting ready to take my family on a cruise to Alaska. So something that they did sort of worked. And not to mention the fine efforts of all the doctors at Northside Hospital. So I'm enormously grateful to all of you gentlemen, to everyone that was involved. Frank, I spoke to at Home Depot. that's above and beyond for everyone involved in my recovery. So I'm delighted to be here, and thank you for this wonderful memento, which I'll keep for the rest of my life, which is hopefully will be long. I'm going to be 83 in September, so I'm getting there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor Garman, that concludes our ceremony. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. We'll take a like 2 or 3 minute break, just if anyone wants to head out or they don't want to watch the rest of the meeting. We won't take it personally. Let's call the meeting back to order. All right, next on the agenda is public comment. So I'd like to invite anyone wishing to make public comment to come up to the podium. You can have up to 3 minutes to speak. Make sure the green light is on, please. It is?
Yeah.
Oh, now it's on.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia, and I'm a resident of Doraville and have been for quite some time. I'm not sure how this works, so if I'm speaking out of turn, let me know. But I wanted to discuss some things that's been going on in my community. Is this the right time for that?
Yes, you can say what you want for 3 minutes.
Okay.
We can't respond, but we're listening.
Okay, so I have a concern. I addressed a lot of my concerns in an email that I just sent recently this week. And I wanted to add to that is that in the cul-de-sac where we live, it's very dark. People don't turn on their lights or anything. I have tried for years to get, at the time, DeKalb County to put up a light at the end of the street, and they have not. And I've gotten signatures, but apparently they need it more specific to homeowners only to do that. So a lot of the homeowners have left. They're renting out the properties, and I don't know how to get in touch with them, but it's a safety issue. During that time, I used to run, and when I would come down the cul-de-sac at night, there would be cars sitting there. I don't know who's in it, what they're doing or anything. So I quit doing that. And so I was wondering if there's any way to possibly get something for safety measures for our area.
Not necessarily asking, but do you mind saying what the cul-de-sac is, just so we all hear it?
Aspen Commons.
Got it.
They have a light up at the top for the street, but as you go down, it's pitch black. I have a dusk to dawn light on my house. No one else. I think a lady at the end, she might turn her light on, but generally it's very dark. Even to go across to where the dumpster is now located, that's dark as well. Now, so I just wanted to mention that. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to Doraville.
Angela Fleury, Northwoods. Well, first, let me say thank you for all of the progress that I see that we're making and for my lovely landscaping there at the Expressway. So I'm very concerned, though, about our transitioning with the trash. I'm going to have to say that me by myself, even I hate trash, and we all know that. We have residents that just don't understand. They don't get it. They don't understand. I don't know how we're going to go about helping them understand. They have the gray trash cans from 2 episodes back. Advanced, I think it was. Okay. Some of the neighbors, I went down the driveway to speak to one neighbor. You know, English was not her first language, but she had already started filling up the green trash can, the DeKalb County trash can. And she says, oh, no, I take tomorrow. Who's going to take it? Who's going to empty it? Okay. So it's going to take some time to help these people understand that we're not using those trash cans anymore. And they have waste already in them. So on my way here, I apologize for being late. I was thinking 6:30. I was taking a few pictures of people that have trash cans that are overflowing, and they need 2 trash cans, 2 of the new trash cans. I learned today at the senior luncheon that those people will have to pay $15 for another trash can. Well, they don't know that. They have no number. They don't know how to contact. They don't read the mail that comes in the mailbox. Most of them still have the little white paper still hanging on the trash cans. They don't realize you can take that off and open it up to read it. But again, the language was only in English and Spanish. It did not reach out to the Asian community. So I did speak to an Asian lady last week, and I said, oh, no. Trash day's on Thursday now. So now we have 2 different days. We have Tuesday for those that signed up for recycling. And I'm very impressed to see some of the recycling bins in front of some of these houses. I'm very impressed to see that. But they have to put that out on Tuesday and then their trash on Thursday. So what that really means is for like a whole week, we're going to be looking at trash cans. Now, before I came in today, I had neighbors contacting me saying, you mean we have to look at trash cans for a whole week? We did have at one time code enforced that you had to have your trash cans in a certain time frame after they were emptied. Well, we don't follow that protocol anymore. So we have trash bins all the time sitting out. So that's just my complaint is, well, I'm just asking for everyone to be diligent about trying to educate not just our next door neighbor, but the neighbor down the road that you've never met. Say, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but that trash can has not been used in a long time. I don't mind doing it myself. And if you want me to hold your hand doing it, I will do that too. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
I don't even know where to start. I'm Kevin. So recently, right, I went to work and I broke a minor rule violation, and that caused me to get terminated. I broke a rule and I suffered the consequence. I was mad about it because, I worked my butt off. And at the end of the day, I have to follow rules. We all have to follow rules. All right, do we agree with that? Everybody has to follow rules. All right, so when I see this destruction in California, and I'm like, when I got fired, my fellow coworkers, they just looked at me and just nodded their heads. And when I see what's happening in California and nationwide, I look at it and I just shake my head too. Rules are rules. And these people are there's people over there. You're from California, right, Mayor? That's where you originate. Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't care about protests, but when I see bloodthirsty anarchists burning down everything, that makes me kind of mad. And I don't want it to come here. And this anti-police, anti-government, anti-rules, rules apply in the workplace, but oddly enough, it doesn't apply when it comes to government and following the rules of our country. And I just don't know, like, I don't want to see the city burn down. I know the police department is short-staffed. And if I see somebody like burning like a friend of mine's car or or um or burning somebody's house or burning a business that I go to, I don't think I'm just gonna just stand around and just look, Mayor. I don't know, Mayor. You know, they say call the police. That's what the police chief of Chambly, a former police chief of Chambly. I don't even remember his name. Nobody remember his name because he urges people to call the police because well, the police can protect you. I think that is a myth. The police are not obligated to protect anyone. So, with that said, Mayor, how do y'all have a protocol or whatever that if things get out of hand, are y'all going to be able to manage the situations that may arise from the whatever is going on? And I don't care. You know, these people are good people. These people, they're good people, but rules, they broke the rule coming here and they want to burn everything down. I don't understand it. Like but I just want to know, like, Mayor, I don't want to see this city burn down because there are a lot of, I don't know if there are a lot of I can't say it's a
That's
lot.
time.
Mayor, we
Been 3 minutes.
can't let this city burn down, Mayor.
I encourage you to talk to Chief Atkinson about what.
Not
the-
talking to the
the
police, man.
complaints. All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, I don't see any hands raised on Zoom, so we are going to pull back from public comments. And one thing I will say, just to council and anyone watching, I think perhaps one of the issues with installing a streetlight at Aspen Commons would be that all of the right-of-way, there's no right-of-way that the city or that's city-owned. It's all properties lined up next to each other. And so I think the challenge is finding a place to put a street light because the city doesn't actually own any of the sidewalk or places where the mailboxes are. So I'm happy to have a conversation about it with you after the meeting. So shoot me an email and we can talk about it then. All right, we have a consent agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding it?
I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second thought.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
All right, great.
Welcome, James.
All right, our city manager is out today, but we have our assistant city manager, Crystal, so.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for letting me fill in for Chris. Hope to do him proud. So just to get us going, finance, the budget requests for the upcoming year are actually going out to department heads this week. So we're getting a good jump on it. With Esri, we're going to start working on the capital investments tracking. So it'll start to help show progress on how capital projects are going for the public. And Assembly is covering the parking deck insurance. So that was good news. And China is very happy to report that audit 2024 is already underway. Doing well with that, keeping up with the audits. From HR, they're looking at changing the probationary period for new staff from 3 months to 6 months. And come Monday, when we start the move, they're going to be bringing forth a ice cream pick-me-up on that day. So help keep people's energy up and going. Coming out of recreation, summer camp is full and it is rip-roaring fun. We filled the open position with a young gentleman named Oliver, so he'll be actually taking over slowly summer camp. The flower boxes, if you've driven through it at all recently, they are almost all painted and it is a really lovely artistic addition. And Ms. Kim really wanted to give a shout out to all the community organizations that partnered to come and gave their time to get those painted. The next event is the movie. We're showing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on June 20th, which is also our Independence Day celebration. So it starts at 6. And then Los Design, who is doing the pool concept and master plan for Honeysuckle Park, will have their first drafts out for public input before we bring them to the next step. So that'll be at that event on June 20th. A team met yesterday to start planning for World Cup, hoping to do something special in the city for the World Cup when it comes here next year. So getting a big jump on that. And then a lot of you attended the AAPI event on May 31st. A lot of community support, a good showing. People enjoyed themselves. There was some delicious food there as well. Our police department supported the Brookhaven Police Department with a demonstration that was planned last night. The planned portion of it went well. Afterwards, Brookhaven did end up arresting 6 people that were not associated with the organizers. Charges range from aggravated assault to disorderly conduct. So police were on site to support that. Our police were on site to support that. And then during the storm over the weekend, there was a tree down on Buford Highway at McClave from the storms. And it took all night for GDOT to come out and clear it. But PD was on site and helped divert traffic. So there was no incidents that followed. Public Works, the CDBG Peachtree Boulevard sidewalk is mobilizing soon. So we'll get to see that up and going. They had a bid opening for the stormwater pipe replacement last week, and they got 6 bidders. So you'll be seeing that come to you soon to get going. The sanitation transition has both happened and is happening. So there's Waste Pro is dealing with the bumps as they come, and we're trying to coordinate with DeKalb to get the remaining bins picked up. So at this point, Mr. Floor just sent an email maybe an hour ago saying, here's the big areas you've missed. Can you please come back out? So working to get those bins picked up. And then we also did get it confirmed that the people who were charged for the recycling delivery charge, they will be reimbursed. And then that's a cost that the city will eat in the future, that there will not be a charge for delivery, for recycling. If anyone else has bins, they're encouraged from DeKalb, they're encouraged to keep them out so that DeKalb can see them and get them picked up. Out of code enforcement, they did work this weekend. It was mainly lawn maintenance that they saw. They had some unpermitted work at commercial spaces, and PD had to go out and assist with that. Planning, the DRI for Lotus Grove, they are still waiting on the state at that, so it's not any holdup on anyone's end. It's just from the state. The site looks kind of rough, so we're taking some steps to try and help them get it cleaned up. There was a concept team meeting for Shallowford today, that Austin said went really well. And there's concept plan for Flowers Road Trail tomorrow. So again, some more projects that are continuing to move along. And then we are working with the school district on the bus property across from Public Works for trail purposes. And then we found out yesterday that we made it to the final stage of OSSOF's congressionally directed spending for 2 projects. So we're hopefully getting a large sum of money for the new Peachtree Road multi-use path and road diet that would get us, we believe, through construction. And then also the Peachtree Creek Greenway, enough funding to get us all the way through design. So every segment would be ready for construction, which is huge. That was a big win. And then I guess the big last thing is we're moving. We start moving Monday. We're moving in sections, kind of building or groups of buildings at a time. We are hoping that there's minimal disruption to any service. City Hall will be closed on Tuesday, and we will reopen on Wednesday at 2421 Van Fleet Circle, Suite 200. So just one day of closure, and we're hoping that's enough to get everyone unpacked and ready to go for the next day. Again, we're hoping for minimal disruption, but we are ready for a lot of different scenarios in case there are major disruptions. The power's being pulled from all the buildings on June 30th. And we will see funding, $25 million from our SSD bonds on June 17th. Do you have any questions?
Great. I guess I have a feeling council members will bring up challenges with communication, but I wanted to just share, I had a conversation with our city manager about that because I do feel like in a variety of ways, there are probably things that we could have done better in the communication process about the trash change out. And just, I think it ties into bigger communication challenges because I think it's great that we have the email newsletter, but I would like to see our staff be looking into what are other ways that we can be getting out really big, important information? And even if it's expensive, I will also say I have not received that that postcard that was sent out.
Don't know if they went out.
I don't know what happened with that, but I do think that even if there is some huge news, moving City Hall,
Library.
moving the library, changing the trash service, those probably do warrant a letter, to let people who live in the city know at the very least. And I do think that we should be looking at other options too, like text messaging or whatever else. The only other thing that that I wanted to bring up, and this is maybe just for council to be thinking about, Chief called me and we've all been tagged in this Facebook post about the news story about, Doraville was doing searches for ICE. That is not exactly what happened. Chief explained to me that Doraville PD was working with the Drug Enforcement Agency, federal DEA. DEA agent had a suspect who was also wanted by ICE, and for some reason was using Doraville's database, typed in ICE, and that's how those lines got added. Chief, I think that's the story, right? I think the big broad question for council to be thinking of, I think Flock is an important safety tool, but I also think that this incident just kind of indicates, like, if you're not sure like what's happening at the federal level and how they're using these types of tools as you go, I think we'll have little control over it in the future. So I just encourage the council to be thinking about the privacy side as we continue these investments, because I do think that these types of things will become bigger issues. That said, we'll see what questions our council has, and start with Councilmember Kuntz.
No, thank you, Mayor. Wanted to echo what you were saying about the importance of the communication. And I think that that's something we as a council, since we decide and approve the budget, we need to make a priority, which maybe we haven't in the past or made it clear enough that we need to earmark money to do a better job at communications, because I feel like there's a lot of things that residents aren't aware of. And the issue of trying to get things out in multiple languages is so important. I know, for example, my neighbor doesn't speak good English. She has conversational English, but I explained to her that she needs to leave her trash can out, and she didn't understand what I was saying and put the trash can back in her house. And if I could have spoken to her in Spanish or had something I could have handed her, but we didn't. And we've talked in the past about, that a mailed newsletter, even once a year, could be expensive, but it may be a necessity. And if we're not able to communicate what the city's doing with our community, then we're failing as local government. And we need to figure out a way, whatever it costs, if we end up having to budget $100,000 a year or something more towards communication, I think it would alleviate a lot of issues that we've been seeing lately. And that's my main thing. Thank you.
Councilmember Evans?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, not to beat the horse, but the communications is definitely an issue. And I personally spent over 2 hours on the phone a day with residents in a particular neighborhood that were very upset about the trash service. So Aspen Woods is the neighborhood, as you know, but I know they have complaints with the bin, but overall it's the overall structure. So the height of it is a little too tall for some people to reach, so they don't haul it over their head, they just put it on the ground. Some people are concerned that the platform is not wide enough and they feel they may fall and twist their ankle, so they don't want to. They think the platform should be wider. The door sticks to get in and out of it, so they would like that to be easier to move in and out. And then it's filling up pretty fast. I believe Public Works was out there earlier today, but when I was as far as this morning, when I was speaking with a resident around 2:30, and apparently was filling up again. So I believe it's 3 times a week that it'll be serviced now.
Yeah, it was initially 2 times a week. It was supposed to be Tuesday, Thursday, and already changing into Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay. So I think that would definitely help. But just notices even on the bin itself of maybe this is how you do it. Maybe there's people that are just not familiar how to even use it. Because as we noticed, there's people leaving trash still out in front of the curb. One suggestion for communications, I think we definitely need to keep doing what we're doing, but everyone uses different platforms. I'm sure everyone has like some social media, Facebook, Instagram. So in addition to that, maybe some large billboards outside of each neighborhood that just announce that this is coming, whatever it is. Maybe it's trash, we're moving, and then on that could be some type of QR code that can lead them back to the website in multiple languages. Now that, go ahead.
When you say billboard, do you mean just like a banner that we hang up? Or you mean like a,
We can use the electronic signs, but I'm thinking like the
thinking like
DeKalb
a
watershed, how they did it when they did the water
Like a yard
announcement.
sign.
Yeah, like
A
a
big
yard
yard.
sign.
campaign signs?
Yes,
Okay, okay,
But a bigger one.
but larger.
okay.
And even when it comes to zoning changes, I know we have the smaller yellow ones, maybe even those should be larger now because we have so many zoning changes. So it's just going to take a little bit more effort, but I think we can do it. And I think the residents would appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you. I won't repeat everything about communication. I'll just say since budget requests are going out, this is a good time to probably talk to all the department heads and figure out, yeah, we have 2 to 3 events a year we feel are worth blasting out and just getting a good guess of that so we can earmark money. I think it's worth it. And then I like the larger sign idea, but maybe we build something that's almost like a picture frame you can put up so we only have to print out large pieces of paper in the future. We're not having to like order new signs for every big thing, just an idea to consider to save some cost. Looks like bathroom construction in the parks is pretty much done for the most part.
Yes.
I know we're waiting to pull power for some cameras,
Mhm.
and it's kind of out of our control, but any update on that?
We're down to 1 camera that's needed to open the restrooms.
Okay.
Out of the like 19, there's still several that aren't ready to go. We met with Flock representatives last week. So she was pretty confident that we should be able to get it quickly, but there's just 1 that we're waiting on for the restroom specifically.
Okay, awesome. And then last one with the Lotus Grove, I saw the update here for that DRI process, but after that, have they given any indication on timing of doing any development on that property?
Austin, do you have any idea?
No, they were supposed to get it to us. I have a microphone. They were supposed to get us to us by the 21st, and they did not. And we've reached out, ARC has reached out, and GDOT has reached out, and so it's literally just the state has not returned it to us, and we don't know why yet.
That is it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Simmons.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we got a few things. I'll just go into communications, just since everyone talked about it. Obviously, we could have done better. My comments on communication are sometimes when we see the Doraville dispatch, let's say it has 2 languages, I think, and the way it is, it's very congested. I saw this presentation at the Union Hall. This guy does. I have his info. This guy, they have it in English, and they have a QR code that you can scan and pick your language and flip it to any language you want, and it automatically changes to that language, which is like great because then you're not going through this language for this part, then this language, and skipping this. I don't know. Just when I read it, I saw that. So I want to hook you up with them so we can look into the cost. I'm sure it's not free and there's a cost to it, but it was really nice where it's like just your language, all the communication, the pamphlet, whatever it is in English are you know, Spanish or French or whatever language it is, you can scan the QR code, pick your language, and it flips the whole pamphlet to that language, which is like way better.
This is an app, or how would you scan?
It's a QR code, whatever pamphlet, you have the pamphlet in English, you have a QR code, you scan the QR code, then you pick your language, and then electronically you can see it on your phone, wherever you scan it. So yes, it's going to stay English on the pamphlet with a QR code, and the QR code flips it digitally on your phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So, which I thought was cool. And it's at least something to look at. I mean, I know it's old school, but I always loved Creative Loafing around Atlanta. You know, they had like all the bins on the corners, and you get one and you see what's going on the weekend and all the shows. And I know some cities do that. Like they have the bin with a newspaper. It's free newspaper. You have it on the corners, certain corners, and it makes your community more walkable. You go by, you grab it, and it has what's going on for that month. You know, instead of like, I mean, I understand about the billboard, but I'll tell you, I don't want a billboard in front of my neighborhood personally. So I'd rather have like little stuff, you know, Buford Highway or this neighborhood, little stands that you can pick up. I mean, of course, it might get wet, but you can have it covered. Creative Loafing had, I mean, they still do it. I love that. So maybe we can look into that option too. Of course, it's going to be a cost, we understand, but you know, I mean, I don't know. See,
Showing your age there.
I know. It's like Mary Garmin knows about this. I don't know if Taylor knows about this one. Okay, he does. He's clear. But I love that. So that might be a good way to help communicate, make the community more walkable, inform everyone. Because like, I mean, obviously we need to send out mailers. We need to send everyone, you know, send text messages, put it on Doraville Dispatch. We got to do everything because in the end, you're not going to appease everyone. You know, someone's going to miss it. But if we have that aspect too, that will help some of the older people like myself, obviously now see it. So that's it on communications. When you said the delivery charge is going to be refunded for Waste Pro.
For recycling bins.
Yeah, for recycling bins. Right. No, I heard you. For people going forward, how about the people that already paid?
The people that already pay are being
Okay,
refunded.
I might have missed that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was like $20, $19.99. I got a good comment I heard in the senior luncheon today from this gentleman named Arthur. He was talking about getting a bin for cardboard recycling out of business, you know, to help alleviate some of the costs for people that don't just want to recycle cardboard. You know how we have the bins at Tower Liquor for glass? Is there something we can talk to Waste Pro, see if they can set a bin where we go and take it there ourselves, paper, cardboard, where it really doesn't.
Our old provider used to have that.
Right. But then they don't have to pay the $15 or whatever it is for people that want to recycle and really can't afford it. They can go there and drop it off. I thought that was a great idea because I know we do it for glass. Like, can we do something like that? Find a business that will let us stick a bin at their place and just ask. I just thought it was a good idea. I wanted to pass that along. Thank you, Arthur. What's the progress on the boxing club? I know you were dealing with the HVAC. Is everything looking good? Or should I not bring that up now?
One is looking fantastic.
Good.
Say that.
We'll just leave it at that one.
I've run into a lot of hiccups with HVAC. Even people that have sent me quotes, they're incomplete.
Yeah.
Like it's not made out to me, or it just says work costs this much, and every time I contact, it takes another almost like 2 weeks sometimes to get follow up. Even one of our contractors we've used previously, who we've worked with before, from 2 months ago, I still haven't gotten a quote. Like at all, period. So I'm having a difficult time getting 3 quotes that I can say, here's my apples to apples comparison. Here's how I picked the person. I think we're getting really close.
Good.
Like I just need one more. I need one more.
If I'm allowed to help help you, please reach out. I don't mind doing that since I do that daily. Mr. LaFleur, I just want to thank you for finally getting DeKalb Water out to fill that gate valve over by Marta. And if you didn't do it, just say, oh, we did? I figured, because after I said it, like it was filled, I was like, huh, great. So thank you for that. And then I was gonna bring up something about the traffic circles, but I don't want to take Mr. LaFleur's steam. Tennis courts, how is the feedback coming from that? And everything's going well with those?
Honestly, 0 feedback.
No,
So
I get feedback all the time about
Okay.
it. People love it.
Okay, no, I thought so. I liked it.
By there every night it's packed. So
No, that's great. I think it was done well. I know a lot of people used it. And were we waiting on anything for there? Wasn't there one open item or no?
I think that because the The only thing that might be open
The
is the
lights.
lighting.
And the pickleball transition's okay there too?
Like I said, I've not gotten a single
People are
complaint.
playing pickleball
Sweet.
there.
Yeah. We,
That's
we
awesome.
put it in with minimal oversight, hoping people could just self-police, and I said, no one's called me, so.
And then last but not least, anything from Georgia DOT have we heard over there across from Public Works where the gravel's been sitting forever? I see trucks here and there come by. That might be a Chris question over there. Nothing?
Shaking his head no.
Okay. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. So our next city council meeting is going to be in the new space?
No, thank you for asking. It will be here. Everyone else will be moved out. We're not moving any of this. The few things we're moving until Thursday.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, my 2 cents on communication, other than what everybody else has said, which I agree with, is if we did mail something out every however often about a specific topic, we could also, of course, always include opt-in with your phone number for the text service, opt-in to the Doraville dispatch, opt-in, 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 because I know it's just hard to get people to know that they can opt in, much less to get them to opt in. And also, I don't know if other neighborhoods had those, what did we call them that we just got rid of in Northwoods, the little bulletin board houses at the entrances?
Really only Northwood.
Okay. No, Northwoods has, they still have some in the parks, but they're like they're like bulletin boards with little roofs over them. Which we could put some new ones in. We could add some more. I feel like after a certain point, I think people just kind of walk past them and don't notice, but it is one way to get something physically up.
Really take them down.
Well, that's a thought. I mean, if it comes and goes, it might make more of an impression.
Yeah.
Just a thought, but that's it.
All right, Councilmember Evans?
I wanted to reiterate the date. We're moving Monday, closed that Tuesday. And when was the power going to be shut off here?
30th.
The 30th. Are we having like a going away?
So we were gonna do a demo party,
Okay,
In July.
but we don't have a demo date. So
gotcha. And then my last question, and this might be LaFleur, the light on Homeland and Peachtree, any updates on that?
Yes, I'm just waiting on an install date. We're going with a solar powered lighting system that we're gonna attach to a nearby pole.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. LaFleur, I think you're next.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Chief, you're so far away. What's going on, man? A little closer. All right, we're done. All right, that's a joke. Sorry. All right, so we're here to talk about temporary traffic circles. We're going to provide a quick update on the community survey results and our next steps. Just for anyone who is not aware of what we're referring to, a couple months back, we installed some temporary traffic circles along McClave Drive and Raymond, as well as Homeland and Redwood Street, just as a let's see what happens type of situation. I don't know why it's cut off like that. It's not cut off on my screen. Just a heads up on that. But we ran the program from February to May, and this is just some feedback on how everything went. So the first question on the survey was, which temporary traffic circle location are you providing feedback on? That's just so we have a general idea of where and what the demographic was for each location. So for the McClave Drive location, we had about 97 respondents. That was 70% of the total. And for Homeland, we had a 29% respondents, 40 respondents, 29% total. We had 137 responses total for this program. The next question was in regards to the traffic flow impact. The question was, do you feel that the temporary traffic circle improves or worsens traffic flow in the area. And for McClave Drive, we had 42% say that it improved, 58% said that it worsened. And for Homeland Drive, we had 55% say that it improved, and 45% said that it worsened. The next question, we asked if a permanent traffic circle would have some support in that location. For McClave Drive, we had 41% say yes, and 59% said no. For Homeland Drive, 49% said yes, and 51% said no. This slide here, we weren't necessarily able to split it in regards to the two locations, but collectively we asked about the overall experience for drivers going through the traffic circle, and the average rating was a 2.9 out of 5. I mean, I wouldn't eat at that restaurant, but that was the total response there. And we also wanted to include just some citation information provided from the PD, just to have an idea of, just something that we can also help quantify some of the impacts. So we pulled some data from November of 2024 to February 2025. At Homeland, we had about 31 stop sign citations, and there were 15 other citations. I don't know exactly what those other citations were. And at the McClave location, there were 3 stop sign citations during that time frame. And during the program, from February to May, we had 6 stop sign citations at the Homeland intersection and none at McClave. So just for a what now, how do we proceed? The Homeland Drive location, while it was effective, I would say it wasn't necessarily ideal. That location was kind of tight. We did have to come out on a couple occasions to try to minimize the size of the circle. There were some instances where people weren't necessarily using it as a traffic circle. So if you had to turn left as opposed to going all the way around, they were just kind of slanting across and making their way through. But if you look at the data, it definitely helped in terms of effectiveness. McClave Drive, it doesn't appear that it's necessarily there really isn't a strong need for it in terms of the data. It's kind of 50-50 there. So our recommendation from the staff is to permanently install neither location. However, I would like to say that the program itself, Mr. Henshaw, he's not here. This was his idea from the beginning. I think the program itself was pretty effective in terms of coming out there, trying to figure out what may work, and give us an idea how we want to proceed in the future. Crystal and I, we talked about this, and I think the traffic circles themselves, the temporary traffic circles themselves, we don't really have a ton of locations where we can implement this, but I do think that there are opportunities where we can do other temporary traffic calming measures in areas that we've received some complaints about. Like we hear about, Chestnut Drive or Oak Cliff on occasion. So one of the things we talked about was installing temporary traffic islands potentially. I know we don't like to hear the word chicane, but we'll try to do it better, right? Temporary traffic calming chicanes, because we could utilize the same equipment that we have, potentially maybe some additional signage to kind of improve the program. We also want to use a similar survey that we provided here, just so we have some metrics that we can track. And in the event that, maybe the same locations that we installed now, if we wanted to proceed with something like that, we would use the PD to provide us with a temporary traffic calming measure at their request, and kind of set a threshold to kind of trigger that immediately. And I think we could do that utilizing GIS is what Jude was telling us. So that's pretty much what we have. So I'll leave the floor to you all for any questions.
All right. I guess I have more comments than questions. I don't particularly have like a strong opinion about installing or not installing a traffic circle at either of these locations. But I guess my comment is I'm not sure that the metrics we're collecting are the best to really get to, is this making the road safer or not?
Right,
because driver, you're always going to have a pretty large percentage of people who they're ticked off enough that they're like, oh, I hate this thing in the middle of the road. It's slowing me down.
Right.
But if that's what we're trying to get done,
Yeah.
you know, in some cases, we may want some people to be ticked off because we want to slow down traffic. I think, and this would be my suggestion, you know, apart from just citations, which, you know, I don't see police at that intersection all the time. So maybe they can get them sometimes on running a stop sign, but sometimes you may not. But I think speed, like if you were able to track speed before and then after and see how that changes, to me, that's maybe a more useful metric for future checks. And I guess I would also just say that I do support this as like a program idea and would think that we should be looking at it at places like Chestnut and Addison and, you know, other streets that people are complaining about high-speed traffic. So, Councilmember Kuntz?
No, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, when they did the traffic calming on Oak Cliff Road, that was not only just unpopular, it really made it dangerous for people riding bicycles in that corridor. And while I know roads like Oak Cliff and Chestnut that have those gore lines along the edges, those aren't actually like official bicycle lanes. People that do ride bicycles through that area, that's where they ride, so that they've got a little bit of safety. And if you start putting islands in the middle of the road that will lens the traffic out into those areas that are the only even semi-protected area for cyclists, you're probably going to have people running into bicyclists. And a friend of mine that he rides his bike to work every day, and he used to ride down Oak Cliff, and he got run over a couple of times because of those traffic calming things that were put in that road. And once they took him out, he was like, thank you so much for getting those removed. Now I feel safe riding my bike to work again. And so till we have multi-use trails on some of these roads, we need to be careful about forcing the automobiles closer to the curbs when you have bicyclists in the same corridor and they don't have a way to get onto a protected trail or something. And I agree that it looked like for the data, people either liked it, loved it, or hated it. And I'm not sure asking people if they like it or hate it, like the mayor said, people that want to, you know, get somewhere quick, they're going to hate stuff like that. And they're the ones that are going to respond. And I'm not sure exactly what, you know, how you come up with better metrics on this, but I'm not sure that this actually defined what was going to be good or not for those areas. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. Yeah, the data is tricky, 50-50 all the way across, but I'm glad we did it. I think it is valuable to get people thinking about it and thinking about what might work and get us all thinking about what might work. And I would love to see us just try more stuff. And like you said, do the speed test before and after. I would love to see something on Addison if we're going to try some new interventions, because that's one that I hear about a lot. But yeah, thanks for going with it and seeing what happened. I think it was valuable.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Chris. It was great. I agree with you generally. I was really excited when Councilmember Henshaw brought this up and started looking around. There's really not a ton of areas where roundabouts make a lot of sense on our streets. That said, I think this program has just insane potential to help make the streets safer. Even when you look at things like protected bike lanes, you can use, you know, kind of temporary, semi-temporary bollards, plastic bollards to create one of those to kind of prove the concept and then move forward with nicer stuff as you secure that funding. So as you look into the metrics and maybe also like a good way of finding candidate roads that have problems, I would say let's also, you know, I like still the idea of chicanes in the right areas. Councilmember Coots brings up a good point about bikers on certain corridors. But like elevated crosswalks, narrowing the curb cut as you come up to a place where you need to turn typically forces cars to psychologically slow down. We can do temporary, they're kind of like chicanes at the end of a road basically, but it just forces cars to slow down because it narrows it. And then they don't come flying out to try to make a quick turn, which puts pedestrians at risk. So there's all these different kind of measures, but I think the fact that we have a way to do it on a temporary basis, collect data, and it really doesn't cost us that much money, gives us a lot of potential to find out the right solutions and move quickly. So definitely encourage you to keep looking for those opportunities.
Thank you. Councilmember Evans?
Thank you for presenting. Just more of a question.
Yeah.
In light of the communication discussion we just had, do you think it's worth a second effort to do this again with more communication for people to take the survey?
Not necessarily in the same locations. I think, honestly, I'd like to try something at Chestnut. But to Councilmember Kuntz's point, it has to be where it's feasible, right? So in the event we're running into a situation where you can't run that traffic into a bike lane, it's out, right? So maybe I can't necessarily do the island or the chicane, or maybe I can do one or the other. So it just depends. I would just say the temporary measure it's a good look and a good idea because, to her point, when we did Oak Cliff, disaster. Right. So had that been a temporary measure, you're able to pick and choose and understand what would have worked, as opposed to contributing so much money to that and investing so much in that just to kind of tear it up. So I think that's really truly the opportunity and the golden piece of this program, is to see what works. Then we could decide, hey, let's try to invest in this because, the proof is in the pudding. So.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons?
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the report. That was good. I agree with what the mayor said on the statistics and all. It totally makes sense. Maybe we get with the police on getting the data, because they're experienced, I'm sure, on getting data like that.
Right.
And that makes a lot more sense when you said that. The light bulb went on. So two other things I had to say. I would like, let's see, I'll go this one. Was there data on New Peachtree? Didn't we do a road diet on New Peachtree when we did this downtown? Wasn't it a lot wider? We widened the sidewalk.
This little section
Right.
is narrower.
Right, we widened the sidewalks, and I mean, that might be awesome. I can tell that it's a lot slower, like it worked.
Yeah.
With the lights, the wider sidewalks, whatever we did here. Like, I think it's great. Now, I know we're limited with space, totally understand.
Yeah.
But if we take this as a model and see if we can fit it somehow in these places and do it temporarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would be, I mean, just think about that when you're thinking about it. Did you see that stuff I sent you over off North
Yes,
Peachtree toward
yes.
Dunwoody and Kingsley neighborhood?
Yep.
That's where they did with the chicanes, and they did the islands and all that stuff. Sort of did a mixture of stuff, because that road, if you guys know, from Tilly Mill to Mount Vernon, going towards that Kroger and all that stuff. And there's an Irish pub, I think, over there too. It's just a raceway, up and down hills, through the woods, it's really fast. So they did that there, and it's real nice. If you haven't been, go travel through there. And then I would like to see something on Pin Oak Circle and English Oak. I mean, I remember, I know that's not my district. I'm over here in District 1. And District 1's probably going to yell at me, but I think we're just a lot slower drivers on this side, because I don't really hear many places in District 1. But I think that'd be a good spot. I've been in Pin Oak Circle. My mother-in-law lives over there, and people are flying down that road. And now that we have, annexed some of them in too. And I think that'd be a good spot if you can find a place. And then I remember hearing in the past about English Oak. I don't know. You guys remember that too, right? Didn't we hear about a bunch of people speeding on English Oak?
Complain about speeding.
Because we're talking
people
about the
use it as a
park.
cut-through.
We're talking about the park and the cut through. So I just remember hearing that. So I'd like to see if we could find something over there and throw some love that way.
Okay. Pin Oak Circle and
Pin Oak Circle,
English Oak.
yeah, Pin Oak Circle, the part of Pin Oak Circle closer to 85, because it sort of loops.
Yeah. Okay. Near the light.
Yeah, the light, that part of Pin Oak Circle
So,
going south.
got you.
Chief, did you have anything you wanted to add? You're good.
I think that's all I got. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good program. All right, China, you're up. And this is going to be the first public hearing for the 2025 millage rate.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This is the public hearing.
Do you take the clicker?
I think so. Let's try this again. This is the first public hearing for the millage rate for 2025. Very exciting. So just to go over a few things. So DeKalb County actually collects tax, prints out our tax notices, sends out the tax bills, as well as collected taxes for the city of Doraville. There are 3 exemptions that we have. For homestead exemption, we have the 2.5 mills off the regular millage rate, plus 10K off the assessed value. The senior homestead exemption. And then this year, you guys, we opted into House Bill 581, where it would keep the averages the same. So let's talk about the rollback rate. The rollback rate is just basically the rate what it would be if we were to do nothing and bring in the same amount of money that we did last year. This does not include the annexation area. So that would be 8.153, and our current millage rate is 9 mills. This is just an example of the calculations of the rollback rate versus what it is right now, with the value of a home of $125,000 versus a home of $400,000. It would be an increase of $105.88, and 400 increase of $338.80. Okay, so let's look at the different options that I presented with you guys about the millage rate of the different homestead with the homestead exemption versus without the homestead exemption. As you see, at 9 mills, we'll be levying taxes at 12 million, which will be an increase of a little bit over 1 million. And at 8.75 million, it will be 688,000. So I kind of want to break down this increase a little bit. So as I dig further into the digest and kind of break down what is causing or driving this increase, some of it is because 2 properties came on the tax roll this year that drove up commercial property by almost 10%. Rangewater came online, which brings in an increase of around $210. And in the annex area, there's an apartment complex called Alderwoods. Their property value is they're the top 2 on the digest to bring in the most revenue. And this is their first year on the digest. And that's the major reason why the digest is going up, is because of those 2 properties. Not because even if we keep the millage rate the same, that's not what's driving it up. It's really helping the residents save money because those commercial properties are on the tax rolls.
Can I clarify that? So everybody, because I don't think, actually, my neighbor showed me his bill and his property actually went down a little bit in value. So most of the residential property is probably about the same. It's these 2 new properties that are rising, that are kind of doing this. So this would not necessarily be an increase for everybody because their property value would presumably be about the same as last year.
Right. And that's because of the House Bill 581 you guys adopt. It should be exactly the same. If you are on the homestead exemption, your tax bill from 2024 to 2025 will be exactly the same. Now, next year that may change, but it only be by what the CPI is, which should probably be like 3%. But for this year, if you have a home exemption, it should be the same.
So if we left the millage rate the same and you own your home, your taxes from City of Doraville would not change.
Right. The only thing that would change is the GO bonds will be on this, bill.
But that's not.
But it's not it's not a part of the M&O for the property taxes.
Okay, sorry.
That's good. And this is just kind of a look at our 5-year history. As you see, 2024, you see that large increase, and that's a lot because I talked about the annexation and those 2 large commercial properties coming online. The annexation is actually the second reason why the digest has went up. It contributes about 41% of the increase, and that brought in about, I didn't write down that number, but it's 41%. So it's really exciting to see the digest moving the way it is and really doing a service to the homeowners. And that's a lot to thank the council of bringing in these new annexation areas, bringing in new properties, commercial properties to kind of take the weight off the homeowners. So I'm proposing that we leave the millage rate the same at 9 mills.
All right, thank you. And this is a public hearing, right? So we need to open it up to the public.
Yes.
All right. Well, why don't we do that? This is a public hearing, the first public hearing on the millage rate. I'd like to invite anyone who wants to speak on this to come up. You can also use the raise hand function in Zoom. We will also have 2 other opportunities to discuss this next week in the afternoon at 11 o'clock and then at our meeting.
Proposing to raise taxes.
This is on the millage rate.
Well, I'm against raising the taxes. I'm
Can you state your name and where you live,
Kevin.
please?
I stay in Doraville.
Okay.
If y'all gonna just spend the money like some drunk Marxists, and nah, I don't like that.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We're going to close the public hearing. And I will bring it back to council to get any comments that they have. Councilmember Kuntz.
Yeah, I just want to explain, like, when we first got elected, we were asked to raise the millage rate to allow for the staff to be able to actually service development and bring new development into the city. And I know when I first got elected, the city had basically just stagnated. We had no new development. There was no new housing. There wasn't anything like that going on. And we had one person in the planning department. And when a developer would come to the city, they'd say, I want to talk to your planning staff. And they'd like say, here's our staff. It's one person. They had to have just laughed and walked away. And I agreed to raise the millage rate up to 10 mills so that we could hire some new staff, be able to move the city in the direction that we're now seeing. And as China just said, now we have range water that came online that's bringing in huge tax revenues for the city. And we're fixing to do this big downtown redevelopment. And we've cut the taxes a full point since we initially did this kind of revamp of our city government. And I think this would be a bad time for us to start trimming the millage rate when we have this kind of unknown economy and we're embarking on this big downtown redevelopment that's probably going to have, or we know it's going to have, some unknown costs. And we're also trying to bank money for the swimming pool. We put away a good chunk of money last year towards the new swimming pool, since we're having to close the current one to do this downtown redevelopment. And I think it's important to potentially use some of this rollback again to bank towards this new swimming pool. That's all I got. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Simmons.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. So just to reiterate what the mayor said and what China said, it was staying at 9 mills. Your taxes are not being increased. The reason the cost went up are the 2 new properties that came online.
And annexation.
So yes, so taxes are not being raised. Is Lumen online?
Not yet.
Okay, they're coming online soon, right? Or,
You talking about,
Well, they have a tax.
yeah.
right, don't they? Isn't it?
It's when they reach I don't completely understand when they reach a certain value. Councilmember Kuntz, can you speak to that?
Cecil, you know this one?
Yeah, they're not there yet. They've still got a ways to go to reach their, to fulfill their tax abatement that was given for them. Rangewater doesn't have one. That's why we're seeing the benefits from that.
Well, no, I understand that. Like, how much longer? Do we have like a rough
It's
estimate?
it's a
It-
value when
Value.
you reach a value.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's
I would say it's several years away.
Okay.
the
No,
timeline is not
It's like 20
not
years.
imminent.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's is there anything else coming on? Weren't there some other properties coming on, or were we just talking about Rangewater and this other one?
That's just it. Rangewater.
I remember
was the
hearing
big
some-
one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
no.
Well, I will say next year we're going to have that new Gulf station on the corner up there across from QT is going to be coming online. That was redeveloped from what used to be the Acapulco Lounge that was closed, and so that'll be something next year that's coming online.
Yeah, and Rangewater's doing more too.
Yes.
So they're building more. They'll have another section coming on. But no. I mean, I think it's great, and I know since I've been on council it was 9.75 and we rolled it back to 9, which is always awesome. I'd like to, just me personally, I'd like to see it at 8.75, but I'm fine with 9 if we leave it there and take some of that extra to cut down that pension. Right? Aren't we?
Yeah, I'm going to bring you guys something about the pension. I'm working with them.
Because we're close on that
Well,
ish.
kind of, but then I've also want to work with them on the smoothing asset mechanism because we've gotten a lot of interest on gains on our investment, and I want to use that money to pay it down instead of us having to take from out of fund balance.
Right.
So I'm working on something so we can just start off clean. So that should be coming to you in a couple of
I
months.
remember you talking about that. That's awesome to hear. Like, I'd love to get that off the books if we can. And then our fund balance is pretty.
It's really good.
Yeah. So I'd like to see if we can 8.75 so I could see a full point since I've been here, but I'm negotiating. I'm negotiable. I'm always, other than that, thank you.
So council members Evan, Ray, and Armistead, I was told that someone raised their hand on Zoom to make another public comment for the hearing. Do you mind if we reopen the public hearing for this individual? Tom, you can raise your hand again and then we'll let you speak. All right, state your name and where you live and you can give your public comment.
Okay, am I on?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah,
We can hear you, but you're
right.
very faint.
I'd
Okay,
like to
for
thank
raising it.
the two council members that responded to my lack of being able to make a public. Anyway, this is the oldest, established in 1871, smallest, contrary to the city website, and highest tax city in northern DeKalb County. It is head and shoulders above anybody else. Because if you include all the SSDs and bond issues and all the permit fees and all the rest of it in one lump, the amount of money coming into the city government here is awash in money. It's interesting on the valuations that the revenue from the value of cars has gone down exponentially since 10 years ago, meaning that we went from Mercedes to basically $1,500 tire kickers. Okay. The value of the city is depreciating. My value of my house went down, but I did a little survey among my other neighbors. One guy's house went up $124,000. Another guy's house went up $28,000. Another house is $12,000. So all this baloney about the house, oh, they went down, Rangewater. This apartment complex built in the middle of a floodplain on top of a stream. It's not going to save the city. So, what the city needs to do is, I'm trying to get a valuation of the downtown development. I can't get a peep out of City Hall what all this is going to cost. You're tearing buildings down that have an actual value. Okay? They're included in this valuation that you're doing. You're trading the City Hall property for basically a dilapidated, useless shopping center. They need to have a forensic audit of this city where the state of Georgia comes in, with the Attorney General's office and look at every dime that's been spent over the last 5 years in this city, because it's atrocious. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we're going to close the public hearing again and bring it back to Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, China, for this. I'm in agreement with the keeping it, the millage at 9 mills. I like the commercial aspect that's coming on that can help alleviate taxes for residents. But I do want to clarify a few things. So with Rangewater, is that the total project or is that just phase one?
That's phase one. That's what's on the tax bill. I think it's like 28 million.
Okay. And thank you for bringing up Lumen, Warren. What about Veranda? I know there's a tax abatement there as well, but are we expecting to see anything from them?
Not as of yet.
They're part of the tax
Right.
CAD. Okay. And then the what was the other one? Oh, I think that was it for the projects. But House Bill 581, that's also going to be on an annual basis. So we'll be talking about that again potentially next year.
Once you're in, you're in. You don't have to do anything else. The like I said, this year will be your same price as last year, your tax bill, but next year it will go up by the CIP, the Consumer Price Index, which shouldn't be over 3%
Okay.
CPI.
I thought there was an update that 581 was also, that bill was updated that it was on an annual basis. Maybe I misheard that, but
Once we opted in,
We
we
in.
opted in.
okay.
So the annual part was other cities that chose not to, they have to go through this process every year.
Gotcha. Okay. That is it. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, China. This was an awesome presentation. I'll start saying I'm in favor of keeping it at 9 mills as well. I think that makes sense. We've had a lot of requests already this year around the idea of additional code enforcement. We want to have the pool. We're trying to develop the downtown with the tariffs happening. It's certainly economic uncertainty at the moment, so we can't even certainly really say what construction materials are going to cost. I think, having this increase that is majority from commercial and apartment properties is just going to help us weather that storm. And I think we can see, opting into House Bill 581 is helping our homeowners and protecting them from kind of rising taxes, rising property values. And yet still we're seeing commercial properties wanting to come here, even with a, overtaxed rate, because they're seeing the potential of the area to develop into a great community that people want to be at, spend money in. So I think the 9 mills works great for now. And then if we end up with more commercial properties coming online next year and a huge growth and surplus that we don't need, I think that's a conversation to have there.
I guess I would also just comment that the cost of property in Doraville is still much more affordable than if you go a little further south. So when you say overtaxed, I think that, an acre in Brookhaven is worth a lot more than an acre in Doraville. And I think that's a kind of a false equivalent.
I was attempting to be facetious, but yes, it's
just for the public. I just
That's
think
fair,
that
yes.
it's important to think about like the value of the property here versus the value of the property in some of these other communities. It's just different. Councilmember Armistead.
Thank you. I also agree with keeping it at 9 mills. I'm glad that the residents have the cushion of this extra commercial money coming in. So we can do that in better conscience. And even tonight, we've talked about how do we improve communications that touch everybody for all of these important issues, and those kinds of improvements take money, and better code enforcement takes money, and those things are not free. So yeah, and I am also concerned about the construction costs for the downtown. And we certainly never thought that our $10 million GO bond, while that's awesome, and we are so glad that passed, that was never going to, that doesn't fit the bill. So
Just the library.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that there are a lot of uncertain bills coming in. I'm glad to have that cushion. So thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Well, we'll hear this again in a week.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Shelton.
All right, Mayor, I'll be quick. So this is a proposed text amendment following up from the discussion item back in April about allowing and regulating keeping chickens. So yeah, we talked about this back in April, or Councilmember Armistead brought this back up in April. Y'all asked her to work with staff on bringing this up. So just a little bit of background. So the amendments that I'm proposing are extremely simple. I included most of the chapter in the packet that staff provided to y'all as well. The basis of our recommendation is that our animal ordinance, or the section of our code dealing with animals, already covers a lot of the things that were discussed at the meeting in April about cleanliness, space, making sure they're well maintained and not mud and pests and blah, 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 and things like that. So that's the basis of our ordinance, or the basis of our argument, is that the ordinance we already have cover most of the externalities that were talked about at the April meeting. So some specific amendments, like I said, which are very basic. So we already have a list of animals that you're not allowed to keep. We just removed chickens from that list and replaced it with roosters. So only chickens at the moment. Added a maximum of 6 chickens. And again, like I said, there's already space allocations for how much space you have to provide per animal that was already in there, because we have for a while allowed keeping of things like rabbits and guinea pigs and things like that. So this was just adding to that list. Obviously, we don't want roosters. And then copying the language from Chambly, which Councilmember Armistead provided in April. I thought their language was pretty simple and easy to understand. If whatever coop you have needs to be at least 10 feet away from your neighbor's house, not 10 feet away from your property line, 10 feet away from their house. So just providing some flexibility on where you keep it, because coops come in all shapes and sizes. And so just the last point I wanted to make, it's staff's recommendation, if we do move forward with this, that we don't have any kind of license or permit or registry or anything like that. And that's mostly just for capacity issues. We already keep track of a lot here. And so having to keep track of how many animals and where they are and things like that that people have is just is going to be an administrative burden on my team for permitting, and also inevitably Lizzie's team with code enforcement. So our recommendation is that we keep it in the animal section and keep it with animal control, as we currently do with dogs, rabbits, things like that. So
before the meeting, I was hearing discussion from different council members about the permitting piece is a potential way to provide education. So whether, it's even just like a click through that someone has read the ordinance, or at least seen the ordinance. I guess what I would suggest, maybe, do you have an idea of what the staff time or cost would be? And I think the way I was hearing it discussed was maybe even something that basically just goes into S3, so no one's touching it. It's just kind of stored there. So if someone did get a complaint, they could go and say, oh, well,
yeah,
they've clicked, I agree, or whatever.
So yes, I heard that as well. It's actually already set up. Unfortunately, there isn't a way to make it entirely touch-free, and that's just the limitation of the service that we use for permitting. So somebody is still going to have to go in there and push it through the final stage, but it's a much simpler process, and it does outline all the stuff that I already put in here. So the maximum number, how far away that it has to be, where to look for the other regulations pertaining to keeping animals and things like that. So, but it's not, unfortunately, we can't make it entirely touch-free at the moment. So.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure you address that first, and then I'm sure you'll get some follow-up questions.
And then just the last slide here. So this is a text amendment. It's not a zoning text amendment, so you don't actually have to have a public hearing. You can if you want, but you don't have to have one. You do need to have 2 reads like a normal text amendment, though. So.
Okay. Councilmember Armistead.
Thank you, Austin. I think like the mayor mentioned in April, I'm really glad that we're not trying to legislate this to death, and that we're not trying to get into micromanaging people's chicken coop design. So I'm fine with this as you've presented it, but I know there are other comments to be heard. But I appreciate your work on it.
Thank you. Councilmember Kuntz.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of simple is better. I think Council Member Armistead told me that Dunwoody had kind of gone into the weeds of permitting and stuff and talking to the folks there. They wish they hadn't. They said it's just been a big headache. And I know in the past, the councils have tried to do, excuse me, permitting and registration of stuff like when they did the grandfathering of gravel driveways, they had a registration of that, and nobody even knows where any of that stuff is now. And trying to keep up with that stuff as you change systems. I mean, it might work today, this Esri thing might work today, but then 5 years from now, there's probably going to be some other kind of software, GIS system or whatever that the data doesn't transmit to, and then somebody's having to manually enter it all. And I mean, I guess one of the points is trying to protect the animals, but there's only so much you can do about trying to. I mean, I would hope that somebody's going to go buy chickens and put into chicken coops, going to do a little bit of research about what they're supposed to be doing and how much of it are we protecting people from themselves. So I'm fine with it just like it's written. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also fine with this how it's written. I'm actually okay not even having the online permit thing. I think anyone who's out buying chickens and building a coop are probably doing research as it is. And then on top of that, chickens aren't puppies. People aren't really gifted them at Christmas where you have to worry about that type of, abuse and so on. So I think generally speaking, keeping it simple and not really trying to be as involved outside of what you've outlined with animal control is the way to go.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Simmons.
Thanks, Mayor. First of all, I want to say thanks for bringing this to council. Obviously, they're chickens here in Doraville, and at least we got something on the books to let everyone know that it's okay, so people don't have to worry about that. So that's like really good that it's out there. I like how everything's written, but I did want to see if we could add something, just a free registration, like Austin was saying he didn't want to do. Just so we could get education material out there. I don't want to charge anyone. And like the mayor said, just sort of have something you click, say, I agree, goes in the system. And then that's it. Like, I don't want to inundate with staff with little stuff, but it doesn't sound like it's that hard. Of course, I'm not doing it, so I don't know, but it doesn't sound that hard. I think a solution would be maybe to get animal control to enter this. Like instead of you guys doing it, get animal control who's going to watch it, because the two reasons I like the registration, free registration, is just so when people call in a complaint, we do not have to waste time going out there and seeing it that they do have a registration. They are allowed to have the chickens, or they drive by, they can see, oh, it's fine, which will save time, it's a give and take with putting stuff, taking staff time to enter it. It's like, well, we just save staff time from going out there. And then the education part, just to make sure they know, it just makes me feel better that it's like, look, we presented everything to you. We gave it all the information that you need. This is what you abide by, and it's the honor system. I don't want to sit there and go knock down doors and look at all this and, just present it there to say that we did our part, But yeah, maybe we could let animal control enter the registration. I don't think we're going to be getting a lot of chicken registrations or a lot of chicken people, and probably the people that do it are going to treat them right and, but I don't know. If I wanted to do chickens, I'd want some information. I'd go find it, but it'd be nice if it was right there. And then, I mean, if that's a deal breaker, we can always add to this ordinance, right? We can always come back to it if something doesn't work out, because it's a trial and error. We're not going to have it perfect the first time. We'll get some feedback. We'll be like, okay, this is easy. We'll add that as an amendment to the ordinance later on, and problem solved. So everyone out there that thinks this is the be all end all, no, there is room to fix things up here. And yeah, just my other thing was, I agree with having animal control handle this. Animal control, go see this. This is not something code enforcement. I do not want to see code enforcement do this. They have enough stuff on their plate. But I think that's great. So that's really it. Thanks.
Councilmember Evans.
No, I'm fine with this. I'm glad to see it, as we pass this, it'll be in compliance as we already have hens in the building. And I will say, being residents of Doraville, as an ordinance, they're saying they agree with this by having chickens, if that's the case, right, Austin? Right. But if we could have like a write-up or something on it, the website, for example, just to say, to Mr. Simmons' point, just to say, hey, we passed this, here's the verbiage, and it could be right there, if that's possible. Other than that, I'm fine with this.
Okay. Can we waive first read? Would anyone like to waive first read, or do you want to hear this again?
I move we waive first read.
Second.
I'll second it.
All right, we've got 2 seconds, so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
I move, oh wait, this doesn't have a number, does it?
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
it does. A-25-02 to amend our ordinance on the keeping of chickens.
Do you have a second?
Well, second.
Any discussion?
Can I add? Well, actually, I don't even know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if people, I guess we can try and see.
You know, make a friendly amendment?
Yeah, can I make a friendly amendment just to see, to add to the chicken specific amendments as written? Just add a registration, to a free registration to be added that gives education material to the people wanting to do it, entered by animal control.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Right,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, I don't know.
If
no, you need you need a second first, so you have to second it,
And then we can discuss it. Is that what you?
that's how it
Yeah.
works,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay,
Second it, and then we can discuss it. Then you can vote no, even if you second.
okay, then I'll second.
Okay, so now we have a motion on the table.
Okay, so if it's a free registration, is it up to animal control to go and police it if somebody did not register and still have chickens, even though our code is saying it's allowed?
Yeah. My take is, yeah, everything, this is animal control. Everything having to do with
It would
chickens
be, yes.
is animal
Okay.
control. Whether telling them to write a citation, do this, well, it's not even write a citation, it's just go register. You know, that's all they have to do. If they have chickens and didn't register, he needs to say, you're not registered. Here's the information, go register. Well, we won't need to write a citation, I don't think, for this. That's not citation worthy. Right?
Can you do that without the registry though? And if they have chickens and they say,
Share the
hey, here's the, yeah, they can do the same thing without the registry.
Do what?
If they have chickens, they can still share the information without a registry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just want the education there, and then just to help staff know that like they're registered, right? Are we trying to write or?
Well, I think that there's two ways of thinking about it, because I think you're thinking of like staff proactively checking who's read the materials.
No, I just want to say is there so the homeowner, when they have chickens, that they know what to abide by. I don't want to go and police and be like, no way.
I think the other way of looking at it would be it becomes an animal control issue. So if they're causing a nuisance or
Right.
whatever,
That's
animal control comes and educates them at that.
right.
end.
That's why I want the registry is like, if they get a call, it's a nuisance. It's like, they can say, all right, number one, you're not registered. 2, here's some education. Here's what you need to do. You know, that's sort of more the goal I was looking for. Not like registered. Okay, let's see. We got nothing to do today. Let's go see if this guy has chickens in their yard or not, you know? No.
Any other discussion on this amendment?
I mean, I would argue that if code enforcement gets, or animal control gets called out for a nuisance call, then they can still, that's the point where they could say, here's a
Right.
pamphlet about chickens.
Right. That
Yeah.
was it. That was it. The main reason I wanted the registry was for educating the people of how to treat the chickens kindly and humanely and that type stuff. You know, I'm not educated about them. I'd love some information, you know, because I'm probably gonna do something wrong if I get chickens. You know, if I don't do my research.
Your dogs may not like the chickens either.
Nah, they love everyone, man. That's actually a funny statement. I call my beagle the Great American Rooster because he wakes up everyone in the morning with his little banging. So I guess he's not allowed in Doraville anymore.
All right, so we have to vote on this
Right.
motion first. Councilmember Kuntz?
No, this is on his friendly amendment.
Yeah,
right?
my friendly amendment.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Councilmember Ray?
No.
Councilmember Armistead? Councilmember Simmons?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Okay, motion fails.
All right. So
All right, so now we can vote on the
it's okay.
On the actual motion, Councilmember, any other discussion on this? Councilmember Armistead?
Yes.
Councilmember Kuntz?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Ray?
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons?
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Welcome.
All
to
right.
Doraville.
Welcome to Doraville Chickens. All right. We are not going to have an executive session this evening, so it's time to move into council comments. Councilmember Kuntz, we'll start with you since you're remote.
Thank you. And we're discussing the millage rate and all the taxes and stuff. And I think residents need to really think about what we did when we were I believe the only city in DeKalb County that approved the state bill that limits the assessment increase over time. And this idea of people saying, oh, my property taxes or my evaluation is going to go up $150,000 next year. It can't. It can only go up 3%. We're also the only city in DeKalb County that gives free 100% tax abatement or, homestead exemption to seniors. And I do find it kind of interesting that some of the loudest tax people or people crying about the tax rates are people that are over 70 that aren't paying any taxes anyway. So we did the whole thing where we did the 2.5 mil tax reduction. So effectively, if you are a homeowner in Doraville, you're paying 7.5 mils, not 9 mils. And you're benefiting from the 9 mils being charged to these commercial properties that are allowing us to improve the city, build new libraries, build a new pool, and all these other amenities that as a resident you're going to enjoy that the commercial property owners are paying for. And I can't remember the exact year, whether it's in 26 or 27, we renegotiated the TAD agreement, and a whole bunch of property is going to come back into the tax rolls of Doraville at that time too. So yeah, I just was going to reiterate on that tax thing. And happy Pride, everybody.
Thank you. Councilmember Evans?
I'd like to welcome Mr. James Kim from Menoir Spirits to the DDA. He's a new member there. Congratulations to him. That's a great coffee brewery if you all have not been there as of yet. Also, I'm excited about the easement agreement that was passed tonight for the Peachtree Creek Greenway extension right there off of Stewart Road. And I'll be presenting in Savannah along with Crystal. Oh, you're not going? Oh, sorry.
You're on your own because of the move.
Oh, okay. At Savannah for GMA about Doraville and the tax allocation district we did for the Film Studios Assembly. There's other cities that are interested on how that passed. So it'll be a brief presentation on how that works. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Armistead?
I just wanted to remind people if they weren't aware that the library is currently closed because everything is going to be closed next week. They're packing up and moving, so they're going to be opening in the temporary location next to the temporary city space soon. We don't have an exact date yet. So the closest branch is Chambly to pick up your holds and return your books. And also FYI, Chambly has cardboard recycling in their parking lot. So go check out their library, get some ideas for what you might want to see in our library, and tell us what you think. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons?
Thanks, Mayor. I'm going to reiterate some of the stuff Councilmember Kuntz said I wanted to talk about was the TAD downtown Doraville, and the Assembly TAD is coming off. I think it was 2028 or was it 2026? I think it's 2028. No, there we go, 2029. So that is awesome. I wanted to mention that too. So that is really cool the way staff, council, and everyone negotiated that with DeKalb County and the schools to allow them to agree, right? Because what
and to get assembly and
assembly. Like that was awesome because we weren't sure that was going to happen. So that's really cool. Wanted to say we had our first senior luncheon today at Honeysuckle. I see some of the seniors here, and it was really cool having it there at Honeysuckle Park. It was 12 o'clock. Don't come before 11 unless you're going to volunteer, and they need volunteers. So anyone that needs to give back to the community, especially our seniors. They love some volunteers. Speak with Mary. Do not come before 11 unless you're volunteering, and she'll let you know.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Ray.
Yeah, you all beat me to most of it, so I think I'll just call attention to this Saturday. There are a myriad of various protests happening. For anyone interested, they're happening during sort of the false bravado military parade. If you want to come out and show unity, peaceful protest, build out community, and show that like Doraville, that the diversity we have in the country is really what unites us and makes us all so special. I think it's a great opportunity, and the more people can come out, the better. So,
Thank you. And before we close, I was just going to take a point of personal privilege and remembrance. My mother-in-law passed away this week, and it's been a little difficult, but I just want to remember Frances Abbott. She was a native Georgian. She was a strong, headstrong, fiery woman who immediately welcomed me to her family. And I'm blubbering a lot this meeting, but she welcomed me to her family, and it's a great loss. So thank you. We get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Meeting adjourned. I didn't all in favor, but
Aye.